Welcome, fellow seekers, especially my fiery Sagittarians, both new to this space and loyal trailblazers who've been riding the cosmic currents with me for a while. I'm truly honored you've landed here at Zodiac Talks Tarot, a channel that isn't just about astrology, it's about decoding your soul's blueprint through the lens of ancient wisdom, psychological depth, and a touch of irreverent humor. So whether you arrived here by divine algorithm or sheer curiosity, trust me when I say, you didn't come by accident. This is your call to alignment, and as any seasoned Sagittarius knows, when destiny calls, we don't text back, we pack a bag and run toward it barefoot. Now, let's talk about what's unfolding this week and why it feels like your spirit just cracked open while your calendar suddenly means nothing. From July 14th to July 20th, the universe has rolled out what I can only describe as a metaphysical checkpoint. This isn't just a random spiritual vibe drifting through your feed. This is what ancient astrologers whispered about when they spoke of dimensional crossroads, a time when your past, present, and future selves grab coffee together and start negotiating your next chapter. If you've been waking up at 3:33 a.m., feeling like time is looping or bending around you, let me reassure you it's not your sleep schedule falling apart, and it's definitely not the caffeine, although Sagittarius, maybe ease up on the triple espresso. You're tuning into frequencies that most of the world is still too distracted to notice. And here's where it gets really interesting. Saturn, that grumpy karmic professor of the cosmos, has stationed retrograde in Aries. Think of it as your fire cousin suddenly slamming on the brakes while reading your cosmic report card from the last 7 years. Saturn doesn't care about how many goals you've achieved or how many followers you've gained. It's not here for your highlight reel. It's asking the big questions. Who have you become? Are the structures in your life truly aligned with your truth or just scaffolding built from other people's expectations? If the answer is no, you'll feel it. You'll watch old versions of your life start to crack. But here's the sacred twist, not all collapse is catastrophe. Sometimes, what feels like a breakdown is really your liberation in disguise, chaos wearing the mask of clarity. This week is about recognizing that your path isn't falling apart. It's falling into place. For the Sagittarius chosen ones, this is not the time to cling to what was. It's the time to say yes to what's becoming messy, magnificent, and entirely yours. Let's talk about Mercury retrograde in Leo, because if there were ever a cosmic setup designed to trip up a Sagittarius tongue, this is it. And I say that with deep love, as someone who's spent decades mapping the stars and watching how you, dear Archer, tend to gallop into conversations like they're open fields. But now, the field has a few hidden ditches. On July 18th, Mercury goes retrograde in Leo, and suddenly your usual blunt truth-telling becomes more, well, flammable. This isn't just about what you're saying, it's about why you're saying it. And trust me, the universe has a sharp ear for intention. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, you're the philosopher of the zodiac, but also its loudest truth shouter. Honesty is your love language, but during this retrograde, your soapbox could double as a stage with too much spotlight and no filter. The cosmic test is simple: are you speaking from the wisdom of your higher self, or is your ego just auditioning for a lead role in a one-person drama? If 3 people visibly flinch when you express your truth, that might be a clue to pause, breathe, and maybe swap the flamethrower for a candle. There's a Buddhist saying, before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? During Mercury retrograde in Leo, consider tattooing that on your mirror. Now, just when you think the universe is only throwing curveballs, here comes a divine alignment to guide you forward. The Sun forms a trine to the North Node in Cancer, and suddenly boom, destiny hits send on a friend request. And Sagittarius, you feel it. That itch to start over. That spontaneous dream that keeps interrupting your logic. That voice in your gut saying, what if you just did it? That's not restlessness. That's your soul clock chiming. This trine is no coincidence, it's the cosmos laying breadcrumbs straight toward your highest path. And in the year of triumph 2025, this is the treasure map you've been asking for. So follow the signs, even if they lead you off the grid, into the wild, or halfway across the planet. You're a Sagittarius. You were born to wander. Let's get something straight, Sagittarius. If you've been crying over a cereal commercial or suddenly feel the urge to scream into a pillow because the Wi-Fi buffered for 3 seconds, you're not crazy. You're cracking open. And yes, it's messy. But it's also cosmic. On July 17th, we enter the realm of the last quarter moon in Aries, and let me tell you, Aries moons do not whisper. They don't send you polite nudges. They come in like a toddler with a megaphone and a drum set and demand emotional honesty. For fire signs like you, Sagittarius, this is a full-blown spiritual exorcism. The emotional volcano is erupting, and spoiler alert, it's not a malfunction. It's a cleansing. It's your inner child throwing open the windows and yelling, "We're not bottling this up anymore." And right now, there's a deeper tension playing out. Aries is screaming for freedom, while Cancer is curled up in a fuzzy blanket asking for emotional safety. Sagittarius, you know this tug-of-war all too well. Your soul wants to roam. Your heart? Well, it occasionally wants someone to hold the map while you drive. But here's the spiritual koan: can you feel deeply and still fly freely? The answer? Yes, but only if you stop judging your tears and start honoring them as part of your liberation. Then, just as you're emerging from that emotional tumble-dry cycle, the cosmos throws in another wild card. Mercury retrograde in bold Leo forms a sextile with Venus in curious Gemini, aka your two best party guests deciding to host a spiritual TED Talk inside your brain. This alignment, happening around July 18th, activates what I call intuitive intelligence. It's the sweet spot where your logic and your gut instincts high-five and say, let's build something weird but wise. Sagittarian minds are famously fast and full of wanderlust. You're basically the hot air balloon of the Zodiac, brilliant, buoyant, and occasionally blown off course by shiny ideas. But this week, your mind is catching prophetic downloads. Déjà vu, strange coincidences, dreams that feel like trailers for your next life chapter. This isn't just Mercury messing with your GPS. It's your cosmic Wi-Fi being upgraded. Now, a word of caution: Leo energy can bring out your inner stage performer, and the ego may try to hijack the mic with a dramatic monologue. Don't fall for it. Gently thank your ego for its contribution, escort it backstage, and hand the spotlight to your higher self. This is a week where your mind becomes a bridge between timelines, past wounds and future visions merging in real time. Which brings us to the grand finale, July 19th, when the Sun in Cancer forms a square with Chiron in Aries. Buckle up, because this is the emotional boss level of the week. Chiron, the wounded healer, doesn't play around. And for Sagittarius, this might hit right in the space where your identity and your desire to belong have always been a little, well, itchy. You've always felt like the spiritual nomad, the one who doesn't quite fit in the usual boxes. You crave connection, but not at the cost of your freedom. You love people, but you're not always sure you belong to them. This square will peel that old scar open, but not to hurt you. It's inviting you to see it, name it, and let it breathe. Because here's the truth: you were never meant to fit in. You were born to stretch boundaries, to expand the space so others could find their place too. That wound isn't your weakness, it's your signature. And when you let vulnerability in, when you stop hiding that sense of otherness and start embracing it, you become radiant. Not in spite of your scars, but because of them. This is where the chosen ones rise, not polished, not perfect, but whole. In the year of triumph 2025, you're not just healing. You're remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. So cry, scream, laugh mid-tears if you need to, but feel it all. Because you, Sagittarius, are burning through the illusion. And on the other side is your truth, wild, wide, and absolutely unstoppable. Let's talk about time, Sagittarius, and I don't mean your chronic inability to arrive at brunch before the eggs get cold. I mean the cosmic kind. This week, thanks to a Saturn and Mercury retrograde double feature, time is less of a straight line and more of a Salvador Dali painting. If it feels like hours are either stretching into infinity or collapsing into seconds, congratulations, you're officially experiencing what I call astrological déjà vu with a twist of enlightenment. Saturn retrograde is slowing down the outer world, those structures, routines, and karmic lessons you thought were set in stone. They're getting a rewrite. Meanwhile, Mercury retrograde is doing its classic funhouse mirror trick on your internal landscape, your thoughts, your memories, and your entire sense of now. Put them together and what do you get? A temporal vortex, aka, a fancy way of saying you're living in a mashup of past, present, and future. You're not stuck in time. You're skipping through it. This isn't spiritual fluff, it's practical mysticism. Use it. Go back to that big decision from 2019 and reimagine it with the wisdom you have now. Envision your future self, the Sag who's emotionally clear, spiritually grounded, maybe even has matching socks, and start acting like them today. That's not delusion. That's just quantum psychology with a Jupiterian flair. And then comes the real plot twist, every version of you is available right now. Yes, even that one Sag version of yourself who almost moved to Bali on a whim, and the one who stayed and found inner peace at a backyard meditation circle. All timelines exist in this moment. But here's the catch, you don't just get to think your way into a better future. You have to walk like it, speak like it, and vote with your energy. In classic Sagittarius fashion, your first instinct might be to book a one-way ticket to wherever feels right because the stars told you to follow your bliss. And hey, I get it, bliss is tempting. But maybe meditate first, pack later. Just this once. Now, let's zoom out and look at what I call the 7-day activation sequence, basically, a cosmic Netflix miniseries, only it's your soul that's binge watching this one. Day 1, July 14th, Saturn retrograde kicks off, and your foundation gets a reality check. What feels solid? What's quietly screaming, let me go? Days 2 to 3, July 15th to 16th, the moon glides through Pisces, and here comes the emotional purge. Cue the dreams, the tears, and the unexpected nostalgia for people you haven't thought about since 2012. Day 4, July 17th, last quarter moon in Aries. No more waffling. Make the damn decision. Day 5, July 18th, Mercury retrograde begins. Your thoughts want rewiring. Be kind to yourself when you forget your own Wi-Fi password. Day 6, July 19th, Sun square Chiron. Oof. Core wound time. This is where you cry, heal, and maybe write a poem you won't share. Day 7, July 20th, moon in Gemini. The final integration day. Share, connect, journal, text your soul tribe, or at least your astrologer. Now listen, missing one day of this spiritual bootcamp isn't the end of the world. But each phase builds upon the next, like chakra dominoes lining up to help you ascend. This isn't just a week of weird energy. It's a once-in-a-decade personal expansion arc. And you, Sagittarius, are not just passing through, you're the main character. So own it. And maybe set an alarm or two, just in case time really decides to bend again. Welcome to the Crossroad, Sagittarius. And no, I'm not talking about which overpriced smoothie to grab after yoga. This is your real choice point. We've officially arrived at the sacred space between who you've been and who you're meant to become. And trust me, This moment is bigger than your next vacation or that existential crisis you had on the freeway last Tuesday. This is the cosmic fork in the road where the stars are basically whispering, so, you in or not. Now, this isn't about superficial changes, this isn't choosing whether to grow bangs or delete your ex's number, though, maybe do both. This is about identity. It's about whether you're going to keep dancing with outdated versions of yourself just because they're familiar. Are you still people-pleasing in a language your soul no longer speaks? Are you clinging to normal because it feels safer than expansion? Let me put it plainly, if your next step both terrifies and thrills you, congrats. You've just located the precise doorway to your year of triumph 2025. That fire in your belly? It's not indigestion, it's your destiny waking up from a nap and demanding espresso. This is the spiritual Olympics, and Sagittarius, you're not in the bleachers anymore. You're the chosen one. You're the main character. And yes, your higher self did write this plot twist. And after July 20th, spoiler alert, life won't go back to normal because that version of you was a draft. What's emerging now is the real manuscript. 3 key upgrades are downloading as we speak. 1 identity, you're done playing small just to make other people comfortable. The new you is showing up full-sized, uncensored, and unshrinkable. 2 relationships, you're learning to speak like your truth matters and listen like other souls are sacred mirrors. Even the ones who test your patience, especially those. 3 time, you're no longer its prisoner. You're its co-creator. Time isn't your taskmaster, it's your canvas. Looking back, this week will feel like the origin story you didn't know you were writing. The week the hero, that's you, stopped waiting for a sign and became one. And yes, your old self may try to crawl back now and then, probably wearing pajama pants and carrying old fears, but you'll recognize it for what it is. A past chapter, not a present truth. So now what? Now you soar. This isn't just cosmic poetry, it's real alignment. And it's got your name written all over it in neon Sagittarius sparkles. So here's the question that matters most. Now that you've evolved, what will you do with your wings? If this message hit home, or your rising sign eavesdropped, go ahead, subscribe. Leave your reflection in the comments, and tell me what part of this portal cracked you open. You're not just passing through. You're becoming. Remember, you are the chosen ones and this is your year of triumph 2025. If this reading lit something up inside you, or made you say ouch in the best way, go ahead, like the video, drop a comment about what resonated most, and subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot so you never miss a message from the stars. This is your space for guidance, real talk, and a little cosmic humor when you need it most. Until next time, keep that arrow aimed high and that heart wide open, because the truth you've been searching for? It was inside you all along.